Hey guys, D.Bowie here, and these are the things that I learned with Dityara's Ursa at TI6. In the beginning of the game, the Ursa starts with only 2 regen items, no other items whatsoever. And we can see that he checks the bottom lane to be sure whether he would be playing against an aggro tri-lane, a dual off lane with Slardar, or just a solo Slardar. I think his plan was buying boots if he was against the aggro tri-lane, but since it's only the Slardar, the stout shield is fine, and I will expand on this a little bit later. Of course I can't know exactly what he wanted to buy, but against drafts where you're not exactly sure who you're facing, it's always optimal to get only the regen and wait until you're sure about the lanes you're going to face. Ursa is generally a very strong hero against 1 versus 1 matchups. You usually want to slowly add up stacks of your passive in the enemy using your higher move speed until he either has to retreat for a long time or take tons of damage. Similar to how you would play Batrider. But against the Trap of the Night Stalker, there's not much he can do. Check how even in a disadvantaged position, the Ursa can get some less hits by drawing aggro. That's why even against melee heroes, Stout Shield is okay. When you draw aggro, you usually take some creep hits, and the Stout Shield helps a lot with decreasing this damage. Also, it's very important to avoid less hitting near the Slardar, since he can use his stun to set up ganks, and we're going to see one very soon. In this clip, we see him using aggro in a different way to what we're used to seeing. He draws the aggro from the neutral creeps to be able to get the last hits for himself. A lot of players would either just run away or try to dispute those last hits with the neutrals and the Slardar, while they can easily just aggro the creeps to the lane and then last hit safely. Against the potential of heroes like Slardar and Night Stalker, it's very important to have boots in your hero as soon as possible. A lot of people don't know this, but Littering Crush applies a slow after the stun. The extra movement speed can help a lot. But since Dityara was farming with not the healthiest amount of HP, he ends up dying before having a chance to turn the fight. I always talk a lot about aggro in the safe lane videos, and this one is no exception. Farming close to a Slardar is very risky because the duration of the stun, coupled with the slow, Slardar's huge move speed and rotations is very deadly, and because of that, Dityara always tries to draw aggro a little bit far away from the Slardar, to avoid what happened with the last gank. A lot of people in this situation will try to get a Morbid Mask and then rotate to the jungle because the lane is quote-unquote too hard. But in this game, that would be counterintuitive for 2 reasons. Against the Slardar, Nighttime Night Stalker and Clinks, you will never be safe leaving the lane like that. While the phase boots will help Dityara chase and run away from Wing's lineup, while still being able to farm the lane. This is the last time I'm going to talk about drawing aggro, but now that the Slardar has his ult, it's even more dangerous to stay close to him. See how he immediately draws the creeps towards him to maintain a very safe distance from the enemy offlaner? He decides to be aggressive against the Slardar, because he's banking on the fact that he can purge the amplified damage or even the slow from the Night Stalker with his ult. But against such a tanky hero, he needs to build up some stacks on him before fully committing, and that's what he's trying to do here. Unfortunately for him, the Slardar's crush hits before the Ursa can land an extra hit, and that timed with a good Night Stalker rotation ends up making everything very hard for him. Even with his ult, dispelling the amplified damage and slow, he ends up missing his own Earth Shock and just feeds.
It's going to be a fruitful attempt. Meanwhile, up top, Dityara's going to be in this, but got the rotations back in. He's going to pop into his ultimate form. He's very angry, trying to go for the chase. And he'll be wrapping around. Faith Beyond, going to be scooting away. I mean, Dityara now his ult ends. He's trying to burrow himself into the trees, but I think that's going to be one more hit, and the Fuzzy Wuzzy falls.
What he does after this engagement is very cool, very simple, and so intelligent. After dying 2 times, it's very unlikely that he will be able to rush right away, especially because they knew he had no Morbid Mask and probably not go to buy it after dying. What does Dityara do then? He smokes with a Chen creep so that the creep can tank the hits for him. And that works so well, it's so simple, but I think I never saw an Ursa smoke with a Chen creep to get a sneaky rush like that. And this very clever move, coupled with a very good fight taken by Na'vi, turns the tides against them. Ursa is a very time-independent hero. as time goes on, even the supports can find ways of dealing with the hero, like Force Staffs, Glimmer Capes, and Ghost Scepters. A lot of players think that lifesteal is just detrimental before blink on the hero, but that's not true. If Ursa can't snowball and make supports fear for their lives, spend money on wards and sentries, or just playing very careful, they will eventually be able to afford the defensive items to play against him. So if the Ursa decides to build a Vlad's or Mask of Madness before going blink, there's a huge chance that all the downtime until the blink would allow wing supports to completely counter the Ursa after the late blink. Lots of Ursas go lifesteal because it allows him to farm and go for a lone Roshan. But with a bounty hunter on their team, they definitely don't want to farm. And with the Chen creeps helping him with the Roshan, he also didn't have to get a Morbid Mask or any other lifesteal item whatsoever during the entire game. Here we see Dityara preparing for a gank, and he does something a lot of Ursa players forget to do. Overpower has a 15-second duration but a 10-second cooldown, which means that if you use it before a teamfight, you increase your damage potential by a lot, because you will be able to cast another one just after landing all those hits. He doesn't end up finding someone, but that's the right approach when you think an incoming teamfight is about to happen, and that can be used to do Roshan quicker as well. Na'Vi decides to smoke, and again, pay attention to the early overpower from the Ursa. They don't find anyone, but he pops it again. And check this fight. He's able to dish a lot of the damage on the Witch Doctor, and after he's dead, he has the cooldown to pop it again, and he kills a BKB TA without even needing to use his ult.
Smoke's gonna break the nose. Someone's nearby the arrow. Gonna go through, just connect on the little Centaur. And now it looks like Ice is gonna be going first one down. He tries to General's ult. He's gonna get picked up. It's gonna be enough popped out. General gonna get silenced up. He's still happy to go through. And there's gonna be the BKB showing off from the TA. Can he still get her down through the BKB? First BKB charge used, and it's gonna be a waste. It's Faith Beyond.
Ditya just focus on his blink timing, because with Slardar having a blink as well, it's way harder for them to engage in teamfights without him having one. After a fight starts, Ursa has the money for his blink, but the courier is already leaving the base. So he keeps the money, and this will have implications later. But as I said, since he knows a fight is going to start, he already pops Overpower and rushes towards it. But they get into a weird angle and they have to go back. Again, he pops the Overpower, and this time with Moonlight Shadow he's able to get some kills, finally.
Oh, the smoke coming wrap around. Ice is gonna get tracked up. They've got to know something's going down. His blink could be going back on in. Now Saneko gonna be stunned up. Moonlight Shadow.
Since Dityara didn't bought his blink while the courier was delivering the bounty items, he buys it now, and that works as a surprise, and they get another kill. Just very crispy play coming from Na'Vi.
Their team, and Ursa is going to complete his blink, and he's trying to run in to get the Night Stalker.
Taking a look at the replay here, hopefully.
Even with a terrible laning phase, he manages to make the right decisions to play the style his team needs him to. If Ursa went a lifesteal item before the blink, they definitely wouldn't be able to shift the momentum of the game so much. And that's mainly due to the bounty hunter, but also the chain. Being able to get kills that give you way more gold, while also taking objectives, change the game for Na'Vi, and they take full advantage of their lineup. Okay guys, this is it for today. If you want to see all of this replay breakdown, please check my PVGNA affiliate link in the description. And if this is your first time in my channel, please subscribe to it. I'm making videos like this every day, and I'm sure something here will spark your interest. And if you really like my channel, please check my Patreon rewards and see if any of them are of your liking. Bye. Pay attention to Sumeil's mana. Even with both supports trying to shut him down, he refused to pop his mana shield. The thing about Medusa is that you really don't want to be out of mana in the beginning of the game. One of the big changes in Medusa is that now you can steal a lot of mana from enemy heroes, because the steal